I remember playing Jimmy, and I was sat in my chair. And I think he was beating me 5-0 or 5-1, and all you heard was "taxi for Hendry." I was like, "Oh, cheers!"
Yeah. I'm thinking now, how am I going to get this car back to Dublin? I'm going to have to drive up the M1, M6. On the Holyhead ferry, you know, that's going to cost me a fortune in petrol.
To say choked is a strong word, but I think.
But you're going to say it anyway.
I'm going to say it anyway. I think he did choke a bit.
He's a real talent, you know, but he's just he just has to tighten up a little bit, you know. Yeah. But it's going to be a tough match for him.
I don't think there's any doubt with that.
Yeah, okay.
Hi guys, we're in Surbiton today at the number 97 restaurant. Ironic, because that's when Ken beat me in the final of the World Championship. Anyway, we're here with Ken to do a Masters preview. We're going to go through the draw, pick our winners, see if you agree. The Masters was one of my most favourite tournaments to play in. It's such a prestigious event, second only to the World Championship. And its new venue, the Ali Pali, has been established for a few years. It's one of the best venues in the world. So with the Masters coming up in the new year, 8th of January, I thought I'd get my good friend, Mr. Doherty, and fellow pundit, to sort of go through some memories from previous years in the Masters, and then later we're going to go through the draw and try and predict a winner. But anyway, welcome, Ken.
Thank you.
Very much for doing this.
Thanks for having me here.
Do you remember when you first watched the Masters
on
TV?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was always one of the best events, wasn't it? Particularly when it was in the conference centre. I think the most memorable match for me was obviously the Jimmy White Kick Stevens match.
Yeah, definitely.
Where Kick Stevens made the maximum, and then Jimmy finished off with that wonderful century in the end with him playing all those shots.
I recorded it. I used to watch it over and over and over again. It's incredible shots.
Yeah, well, outside the World Championship, that was the big event, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and it was sort of it was a marquee event, and we saw Kick Stevens for the first time. You know, in the ice cream suit, as we used to call it, and it looked fantastic. And he was a wonderful character, you know, as Jimmy was, and Alex Higgins. Yeah, that for me was just one of the most amazing events to watch on TV, and I think that match sort of summed up what the Masters was all about, because I had a big crowd, hadn't it? You know,
had that funny colour table as well, didn't it? The light colour table. And
and of course the seats were so far away. They had all those beautiful flowers around the table. It just looked completely different, didn't it?
I remember when I played there, because you mentioned them flowers, so it just reminded me, because one year I played there, and the biggest wasp came out of the flowers, and honestly, I was absolutely shitting myself. It was like I didn't want to get to the table. It was huge. And like it was so annoyed, because you know what I'm like with wasps.
I actually brought the wasp along. You know,
I absolutely hated it.
I should have brought a few more wasps any of the times we played over the years. But it was just it was amazing. You know, just the way it was the whole setup of it, and it was such a wonderful crowd. They were always very vociferous down in London, and particularly when Jimmy or Alex were playing. But it was just a wonderful venue. Yeah, but I think that match sort of was the earliest abiding memory of the Masters.
Would that have been, obviously along with the Crucible, would that be one of the ones that you think, that's my ambition, I want to play at the conference centre?
Absolutely. You know, I think the World Championship was obviously the first, but to play at the Masters, to get into that top 16 was quite incredible. And just the very first time even coming up those stairs into the arena. The first time I played, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. We had to play the pre-qualifying. So that was 1992.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd won the qualifier up in Scotland.
Right, okay.
So I had to win a tournament in Scotland, and the winner got a place in the Masters.
Right.
So I won the tournament in the Masters in Scotland, in Denniston, isn't it? The old Alan McManus's club.
Yeah.
So I won that tournament, and then I came down to play, and my first match was against Tony Jones. Remember Tony Jones?
Tony Jones,
former European Open champion.
That's incredible.
I don't know what he's doing now. We haven't heard from him in a long time.
So many people would be, because that held, I want to say, about 2,800 people, the old conference centre. Many would be there at 10 in the morning, because even with 1,000 it seemed empty, didn't it?
Yeah, that was the problem. And so the 10 o'clock in the morning start, you were only the sort of aperitif before the main course, like basically. So there wasn't many. There were only really the die-hard sort of aficionados of snooker that would turn up for that match, you know. Yeah, but there was still there might have been 200 or 300 in there, but they were pickled all over the place, you know, and it wasn't the greatest sort of atmosphere, but it was still a very intimidating place to play. I remember I was so nervous coming out, because it was such a big match, because you wanted to be in the main draw properly, you know. And even against Tony Jones at 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, it's like playing at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's very hard to get the adrenaline.
There wasn't a lot of matches that early in those days.
No. Well, it was only two first round matches at 10. And then, of course, the main event was at 2 o'clock and then 7 o'clock.
And did you beat him?
I beat him 5-4.
And who did you play in the first
and
round?
I played JP, John Parrott.
Oh,
you know?
okay. I was going to say, did you ever play Jimmy there? Because I played Jimmy 2 or 3 times. I mean, that's some atmosphere, isn't it? 2,800 Londoners. And
incredible, yeah. And I beat Ronnie there as well, believe it or not. Yeah, I beat Ronnie there once, 5-4 as well. Which was pretty fantastic as well. You know? But any time you played those, the noise.
I remember playing Jimmy, and I beat him a couple of times, I think. But one of the times he beat me, I remember, I was sat in my chair, and I think he was beating me 5-0 or 5-1, and all you heard was "Taxi for Hendry." I was like, "Oh, cheers!"
Yeah. They used to shout out "miss" and everything to you when you were on the shot when you were playing Jimmy. Yeah,
unreal. But one time I played him, and the MC, Norman de Mesquite or something his name was, he introduced him as Jimmy Young. And Jimmy was fuming, absolutely fuming. That was one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah, he didn't like it at all, Jimmy, did he? No.
But an amazing, when they went from there to the Wembley Arena, which wasn't great, was it?
No. I never liked that Wembley Arena. It was too big, wasn't it? I mean, some of the matches, actually, the very first time I went to the Masters, I was invited over by Kevin Norton from the Irish.
So you went to watch before you played in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to watch, I think it was the year before or 2 years before, and you played John Parrott in the final, because you played him twice in a row, I think, in the final. Might have been 2 or 3 times in a row, but definitely 2 finals in a row you played him. And I think you beat him that night 9-6 or 9-5, but you played really well. But I was sitting in the front row with Kevin Norton watching it, you know, that was my first sort of taste of it. But I loved the conference centre, you know, absolutely. I had some nightmares in it. I mean, my nightmare in the conference centre was obviously missing the black for 147. That was.
Well, I was going to get to that, but I was going to come to that. But now you brought it up. It's kind of.
I knew you were going to come to it eventually.
It was kind of the elephant in the room. Come on. So you were playing Matthew Stevens, right?
I was playing Matthew Stevens.
But the thing about that 147, I remember, is like the clearance of the colours was so difficult. You put some incredible balls, and then to get to the black. I mean.
I know. Yeah. Well, the thing about it at the Masters, the car was always in the foyer, wasn't it? So you used to have to pass.
I miss a pink, by the way, so not wash,
but the car was always in the foyer.
That's right.
And it used to be it was a Honda NSX. You remember it? Yeah. And one year it was a red one, and this year in '99 it was the yellow one. And I was in the final. I think it was 9-5 down. And I thought I had a chance, like a part of the long red.
It was in the final, was it?
In the final, yeah.
I can't even remember it was in the final.
Yeah, it was in the final against Matthew Stevens, yeah. So I'm 8-5 down. No, it was first to 10 at the time. So I'm 9-5 down, and he goes in off, and I've got the ball in hand. So I've put a long red and come off the top cushion on the black, and the balls are nice. So okay, I said I'm 9-5 down. I might not. You know, the odds of me winning this match are pretty slim, but we'll give it a go, and we'll go for the 147, you know. So, you know, if the balls are nice, you know, you see you think, oh, well, this is a chance. And because you passed the prize on the way down, you sort of have an image in your head, you know. Anyway, I get down, at the yellow, I didn't get on the yellow nice, didn't get on the green nice, didn't get on the brown nice, you know. And then I potted the blue and ball to get up for the pink, and I just landed just off straight on the pink.
So when did it start? Because obviously, I can imagine, like, 2,500, 3,000 people getting more and more and more excited.
Exactly,
I mean, like, were you how was your nerves? Were you controlling it?
I was buzzing, and I was thinking, I was thinking about actually Kirk Stevens back in '84, how he was feeling, you know. But I was trying to just stay in the moment, trying to keep. But they were getting more and more noisy, and by the time I potted the blue and I potted the pink, they're all standing on their feet, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm down on the black, and I'm thinking.
Did you think, don't miss this?
This car, I mean, I'm thinking now, how am I going to get this car back to Dublin? I'm going to have to drive up the M1, M6, on the Holyhead ferry, you know. That's going to cost me a fortune in petrol. And I twitched the black, so... but anyway, I didn't like the colour of the car. But I'd be forever... The problem is, you're forever remembered as missing the black for the 140, particularly at the Masters. And like what sort of hurts me more was the history attached to it, you know, the nostalgia.
And a final as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the previous one was '84. Like there's only the previous one to that was the last one.
So there'd only been 2 at the Wembley Conference Centre.
Yeah, that was it. Well, it was only one.
Yeah.
It was only one.
So you'd been the second one, yeah.
Been only the second one. So yeah, so that one. And people would always stop you, you know, oh, I remember when you won the World Championship in '97, but remember when you missed that black, you know what I mean?
And of course
I bloody remember.
Of course, your fellow pros were really sympathetic about it, weren't they? Yeah, because I remember I was in Dublin about a couple of months later, and Steve and I were, I think it was for the Irish Masters, and we were at this lunch to promote it, and the MC got Steve and I up and asked, he said, "Did you see Ken? You know, the 147, Mr. Black." He says, "How do you feel?" And I said, I laughed. And like the audience in Dublin sort of went quiet for that, and then they laughed. And I thought, but that's snooker players. It's savage.
Well, I remember in Malta, it was like the week later, and I'm in practicing. You know, when you've walked into the practice room, and the first thing you said to me, "Shouldn't you be practicing blacks off the spots?"
One final, was that your best?
No, I lost 10-8. I eventually lost 10-8 the match. I brought it back to 9-8.
Right.
And then I lost 10-8. And then I was 8-6 up against John Higgins the following year in the final. And he beat me 10-8 as well. Yeah. Oh. So that was the closest I come. I lost in a few you beat me in one semi-final. The year actually you lost on the respotted black. I lost to you in the semi-finals.
Oh, the Mark Williams black.
Yeah. I lost to you in the semi-finals 6-5, you know. Yeah. And somebody said to me, he said, "Well, how do you think Stephen?" I says, "Well, I can't see him losing in the final." Yeah. Mark Williams never spoke to me for about 2 years.
I know. I mean that one. I mean, I've done a video here with Mark Williams, and as I said to him, you know, you win it 6 times, you're more remembered. It's like Steve in 1985. You're more remembered for missing that black. I said, but I just loved that venue. I mean, well, I used to joke for a Scotsman to be so successful at Wembley. It was very unusual, but I just loved it. Yeah. They walk up the stairs.
I mean, you've won it 6 times there, so I mean, it's great memories for you. You got to keep the cup as well, didn't you? That we all played for.
That's right. Yeah, but I mean, I used to always think that the World Championship was the one of the season you wanted to win. But the Masters, because it is the top 16 in the world, it's like you've got to prove yourself against the other 15 best players in the world. And that's why I thought it was such a massive tournament.
Yeah, because you're right. Because sometimes even at the World Championship or other events, you can come through the draw and you can miss some of the top players. You know what I mean? But like at the Masters, because it's the best players in the world, the top 16, you can't. Every match is almost like a final. So you can't miss anybody. You can't expect sort of an easy match at all, and it was very special.
Yeah, nowadays it's like, because the rankings are changing all the time, it might not necessarily be who you think is the top 16 players in the world, because the rankings are changing. One might be in that maybe you don't expect. So it's slightly changed in that way, isn't it? Although the standards have gone up, it's slightly changed, hasn't it, a wee bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, some guy might be in it because he's had a good season the previous season, but this season coming in. And even like the likes of Gary Wilson now, who's just won a tournament. You could win the Scottish, you could win the English, and still not be in the Masters, because the cutoff is at the UK Championship, obviously. But I think the Conference Centre was just very. I just loved that. I think one thing about the Conference Centre, it was almost like 2 gladiators in an amphitheatre, wasn't it? Because you came up these stairs from underground, wasn't it, from the dressing room? And I used to love the walk from the dressing rooms. You know,
it was quite a long walk.
It was quite a long walk, but it was a great sort of build up, wasn't it? That you were coming up onto a stage and you ran up the stairs, you were introduced into.
You almost felt like a boxer kind of thing, didn't you?
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Loved it.
So going into obviously what we do now, we commentate and we pundit. Do you still get excited about going to it, and obviously we're not got a cue in our hand, but I mean it's still a buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
because the Ali Pali is fantastic.
It's just, I think over the last few years they've just really made it the Masters home, hasn't it? You know, we never thought anything could sort of come close to the Conference Centre, but the Ali Pali, the atmosphere there last year. I mean, the Higgins and Williams match where they both got a stand ovation just coming into the last frame. I mean, I was in the commentary box. The hairs on the back of my neck were like standing up. You know, I mean, I don't know about you, but because you love the game, you know, you love to see great matches, don't you? You love to see history being made and stuff like that. Even if you're not, you know, you're sort of a little bit envious at times because you're not playing.
Of course,
you know,
you never lose that. That's because people ask us, what do you miss most? And it's that, being out in that atmosphere.
Yeah. But you still love to see other matches going on. You know, you love to be involved, even in the commentary box. You can still get excited about it. You know, particularly if it's a good match, and particularly the importance of the Masters, the World Championship, or even the UK and some of the other big events now as well. But as a pundit, it gets the juices flowing for sure. You know. Can
you remember one of the best matches you've seen? I mean, commentate. I mean, I'm trying to go back too far. Sometimes you don't remember, but I mean, last year's match with Williams and Robertson, for me, was
Yeah,
just
oh yeah, the 6'5".
unbelievable. But I mean, it's been, because, as we've said, it's the best players. You get some unbelievable matches, don't you?
Yeah, I think, I mean, some of the finals, I mean, if you go, I mean, even before the Ali Pali, say you go back to like when Higgins beat O'Sullivan 10-9, where he made that clearance, you know, like incredible clearance to win on the black, you know, from 60 odd behind. And then you had like the Paul Hunter years as well, were very, very special. You know, we beat my good friend Fergal O'Brien.
That's right.
You know, from 7-2 down.
Special mid-session tactical exchange
Plan
with his
B.
missus. Yeah, that was like Plan B, he called it.
Yeah. Back at the Hilton Hotel, little afternoon session, a bit of a practice session in the afternoon between sessions. But he beat Fergal O'Brien from 7-2. I think he beat Ronnie from 7-2 down, and Williams from 7-2 down as well. So like in 3 unbelievable matches. At the Ali Pali, I think last year, because it was after COVID, you know, when the crowds were allowed back in, they just sort of, it was almost like they were so glad to be there. That they all got involved.
And Rob, obviously, Rob Walker got them up
build
for it,
them up, you know. And everybody was just like on their feet, you know, for
I've never seen anything like it.
No. I think the match with Higgins and Williams, and then with Williams and Robertson, were just incredible. And then sort of the final sort of petered out a little bit. It was sort of a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? But the Ali Pali now has definitely been the home of the Masters, without a shadow of a doubt.
And it's probably, it's like Ronnie's playing in his backyard as well, isn't it? He won 7 times, 8? Is it 7 or 8? He's won it
7 times.
7 times.
Yeah. He's won 7 times in each of them, hasn't he?
It's like playing his front room, and the support he gets is absolutely incredible.
Well, that's the thing about it, isn't it? Because you're not only playing the genius that is Ronnie O'Sullivan, but you're sort of playing against the crowd as well. It's like an away match, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. And he turns up on the Thursday. Is that what he plays? Wednesday or Thursday? And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's it. You know, 4 matches. He loves playing the Masters, and he loves the crowd. The crowd love him, and it sort of inspires him, doesn't it? Because that's his like stage, as it was yours. You know, you know, when you were in your pomp in the 90s, you know, you loved that atmosphere. You know, he loved it. They sort of relish it in a way, and it sort of makes them play better. You know, but he's very, very hard to beat, O'Sullivan.
It's a very different. I think the London crowd, it's a very different crowd, I think, to anywhere else in snooker. It's the atmosphere. It's so loud. It's hard to explain, but it's just, you know, there's just a constant buzz in there around it. And the way they've done it with the venue now, with the sort of armchairs, the posh seats, and they've got the VIP up the top. It's become like a real proper event, hasn't it? It's grown.
Oh no, I love it, I must say. And wouldn't it be great to wonder, you know, when you think back at the matches that you would have played in the Masters, you know, but you say, oh, jeez, it'd be great to just get out there one more time, you know what I mean? But yeah, you do envy the players a little bit, like, because of that atmosphere that they coming in, the walk down the stairs, you know, to the music as well. We never had music or anything like that, and it was the MC Norman Mesquita, or whatever his name was. He wasn't like a Rob Walker, was he? Or
no. It's just very minimal.
Please welcome Stephen Hendry, or please welcome Ken Doherty from Dublin. Okay, and that was it. You know there wasn't no big build-up or anything like that. Whereas Rob Walker really enthuses the crowd, you know, really gets them going, and that's part of the whole show. Like, you know what I mean?
The one thing I think the new one is missing is, and obviously it was tobacco sponsorship, but they did the tournament so well, didn't they? The backstage stuff and everything, exactly, the lounges and everything. You don't seem to have that anymore, do you? It's a bit more. The players just seem to turn up now, practice and play the match and go. Whereas before everyone seemed to hang around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was more. I think we'd like to see a bit more of that. You know, like, I know they've, you know, with the special lounge now, the VIP lounge is really, really nice up there. But I think
you're up there all the time, and you and Jimmy with your freebie meals.
I've only had one meal up there. Everything else I've had to pay for. But no, I must say I do like that area. I think it'd be nice if players could sort of come up there to mix and mingle, maybe do a little Q&A. You know, just only for like 5-10 minutes afterwards. You know, where they do the press conferences, just come up there and meet some of the people upstairs.
Because the conference centre, we used to do autograph sessions, didn't we, after the match? Upstairs,
and there'd be like, you know, 200 or 300 in the queue, but you had to sit there and do the autographs. That was part of of being invited to the Masters, you know, and the same with the Irish Masters as well in Goffs. But they don't sort of enforce that. But I'd like to see them, because, as Judd said at the last, you know, the champions, that he'd like to see more sort of interaction with the crowd. Well, that's, you know, get out there and meet them, or give little Q&As, or sign autographs, get pictures with them, and meet the audience, because you have to make it, even though it's a special event, but they need some sort of connection to the players rather than just see it on the table. You know what I mean? Just to meet you, just to say hello, just to get an autograph. It doesn't take that much, does it?
I think one thing, obviously, is a huge event, but I think one thing we're probably looking forward to in January is Dennis's birthday. We normally have a good night in London, don't we, that night? That'll be good fun.
We always have a good night, don't we, with Dennis? Yeah, because it's great that Dennis's birthday always lands in the middle, and yours is just a little bit after, isn't it?
No, mine will be on the Friday, I think. Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Friday the 13th. Oh dear. We better not go out on that night. But
you might break into your wallet then.
But we have a lot. We're great fun, don't we? We're great fun with it.
I love it when we go out. We have a nice meal and have a little chat and tell old story. Always listen to
one or two glasses of wine.
One or two glasses of wine. Yeah.
I can't keep up with you though. But anyway, no, I cannot wait. So it's always good. It's going to be an incredible tournament. So we're going to have a look at the draw now. Yeah. We're going to see if we think
agree.
Opinions are the same. Probably not, but we're going to see who we think is going to win each round. So we're going to go through the draw.
Okay.
Let's do that. Okay, so we've got the draw here for the 2023 Masters. Ken and I are going to go through it and see. We might have a few arguments, but see if we can get to a winner. We're going to start on your side of the draw, Ken.
Yeah.
Possibly the tie of the round. Neil Robertson defending champion against Sean Murphy.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the Masters. A lot of these matches, they're almost like a final that could be worthy of a final, couldn't they? I know these lads have played in a couple of finals already. They've both been champions as well. This is a tough one to call. I mean, obviously, on current form, you would have to go Neil Robertson. You know, Sean he started to play a little bit near, getting there, but he hasn't quite got to his best yet, has he?
Yeah, I think Sean showed some good signs. I think in the UK Championship, if it wasn't for Lazowski playing as well as he did, I think he had a chance of winning that. Robertson, traditionally, is not great at the Masters, and he's admitted it, that he has a lot of time off over Christmas, and he starts off very cold. Yeah. But then he's defending champion, and he's so good. And he wants, I think Neil wants to win more of these Triple Crown events. He wants to have them on his CV. Yeah. But I think it's a really tough one to call.
It's a great opener, isn't it? I mean, it is a great opener. You know,
what a match.
Yeah. I think on current form, I'd have to slightly favour Neil Robertson.
Yeah, I think I agree.
If there was ever a chance to catch him cold, as you say, because sometimes he likes his little bit of time over Christmas, and it's a family time as well, as indeed with Sean. But I think if there's ever a time Sean is going to catch him, it could be catching him cold.
I want to say it is a bit earlier this year, the 8th of January. It's quite, who's been practicing over Christmas? Who's been eating too many mince pies, too many glasses of wine?
Probably us too.
I know Sean likes a glass of wine and a mince pie. Neil Robertson maybe less so. So yeah, I think let's favour Neil. I think put Neil into the quarter.
Okay, I think it'll be a close. I think it's going to be a close one. We'll go 6-4, 6-5, but I think Neil Robertson will just have to edge him. Okay. Sorry, Sean.
Next match, Karen Wilson against Stuart Bingham. Stuart Bingham, he won it, was it 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, beat Ali Carter, didn't he, in the final?
That's right. So, I mean, he loves the big occasion. Kyron Wilson has been in decent form. He's won a ranking tournament this season. Yeah. So, for that reason, it makes me slightly favour Kyron.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, Stuart, he loves the Masters, being from Essex as well. It's not that far from his home. Gets great support there, has played really well there over the years. Yeah, another tough one to call, but I think you would have to say, just on current form alone, I think the confidence is obviously with Kyron Wilson. He's been Mr. Consistency, hasn't he? Yeah. And he's only sort of missing one of these big events, isn't he? Like, he's knocking on the door, but he just hasn't got one under his belt. I think once he gets one under his belt, he'll probably win a few. But this could be, again, another very, very close match. But I'm going to go for Kyron Wilson.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
We're agreeing too much here. This is too easy.
This is very unusual.
Well, I mean, the next match, I think we're probably going to agree on this one as well. Mark Allen. Yeah. Arguably the player of the season.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the way he played at the UK Championship to come back from 6-1 to beat Ding. He won in Northern Ireland as well. Defended his title.
Harry Hawkins, though, good.
Yeah, he's got a great record.
Events. He loves a trip.
Lost in the final, didn't he, last year as well?
Yeah, and lost in the final to O'Sullivan. So loves the venue, loves the event, and you can never discount him. But I think we both agree that Mark Allen on the form this season, having won the UK Championship. Yeah. wants to add these Triple Crown events. The only thing against Mark is probably could you win the UK and the Masters within a couple of months? Maybe a big ask, but I do think that he's going to beat Barry Hawkins in the first round.
Yeah, I think so. But it's one of those sort of banana skin draws for him, isn't it? Because Barry Hawkins, he's such a great all-round player and loves the Masters as well. But yeah, I think on current form we'll go for Mark Allen.
This is too easy.
Yeah.
Okay, the final one in your half of the draw: Judd Trump against Ryan Day. Ryan Day won the British Open. Probably no one expected him to do it, so he is coming to the Masters as a winner this season. Judd Trump, he's not been winning as regular those seasons when he won 5 and 6 titles in one season. He's not been a regular winner, and if anything with Judd, he's sometimes a slow starter in tournaments. Yeah,
it's very, very hard to replicate that, isn't it? I mean, when he won those 6 ranking tournaments in one season, it was quite incredible. It looked like he was going to dominate, didn't he? Our sport, for quite a long time. But yeah, he hasn't he's sort of waiting to get up running, isn't he? Again. But still, I mean, Ryan Day, he wouldn't have played a lot of times at the Masters, would he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would have played not even a half a dozen times. So I mean, Judd Trump.
You would think that the occasion might get to Ryan Day. I think the 2,000 people. Judd loves that. He loves playing in the big events. So I think there's no doubt about it. I think Judd wins that match 6-2, 6-1, 6-2 for me.
Okay. Well, you're a bit harsh.
Are you giving him 3 frames?
I'll give him 3.
Let me ask you, if you were playing, how far ahead would you look in the draw if you were playing at the Masters? Do you just look to the next match? Or did you say,
I mean, you always cast an eye, don't you? I mean, for the players who say they never cast an eye, you always do cast an eye. Am I in the same? What part of the draw am I in? Who am I going to play possibly, in the next round or the quarter, semi-finals? Where's O'Sullivan? Where was, I mean, I'd be looking, where were you, in the draw? If I was in the bottom half, you were in the top, I'd say, at least we wouldn't meet until possibly the final.
Because it's amazing, say for instance, a Judd or a Neil or Ronnie lost in the first round. All the other players are thinking, wow, what a chance, right?
I think a lot of the guys, without any disrespect, I think they'd be all looking and say, well, because O'Sullivan's had such a great record here, they're all saying, well, what half of the draw is O'Sullivan in? They'll never admit that. No, they will never admit that. But they will always have a look and say, where's Ronnie O'Sullivan, in the draw? Where am I going to meet him? These lads, I mean, when you look at this quarterfinal lineup, I mean, this could be finals, couldn't it? You know what I mean? 2 finals here. I mean,
I think the quarterfinals and semis where we might have a few arguments. But I think the first round, we're going to go to my half here. Yeah. And I think this one, Mark Selby against Zhao Xing Tong. Zhao Xing Tong is not the player this season. I think he's been awful this season. I mean, he won the UK Championship last year, the German Masters, but since then, I don't know what's happened to him.
It's almost like he sort of had a slight sort of hang-up or hangover, hasn't he, since he's won that. He sort of reached that height, and even though, it's not like he's taken his eye off the ball, or I don't think, because he's a very diligent practicer, isn't it? I mean, you see him, he's always in the club, so it's not as like he's taken his foot off the pedal. But I think mentally, he may sort of have sort of taken his eye off the ball slightly.
Do you think perhaps being the target rather than being the underdog has maybe affected him a wee bit? He's struggling to come to terms with that.
But I think I love watching him play. I think he's a class player. I'm sure you do too. It's only a matter, sometimes, I don't know how, it obviously didn't take you long, to when you start winning the big events, it just keep going. It's you have to be of a certain mindset, and sometimes you have to, and when you're not, you have to get used to it, don't you? You know what I mean? And be able to train your mind, okay, park that, let's move on to the next one. It's not very easy. It's very easy to talk about it, but it's not very easy to do mentally. And maybe he's just sort of struggling with that a little bit, But he has to learn very, very quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, he wants to learn very quickly. He's not going to be in this tournament
in future
years.
This is a tough
He's up against Mark Selby, who he's not at his best.
No.
But he's someone that even if he's not his best, you're going to have a tough match. So do we agree that Selby could win this match then?
I think Selby will win without a doubt. But I'd love to see Zhao Xing Tong play. Really sort of put it up to Mark Selby and play, because they're completely contrasting styles. And I'd love to see the sort of young guy trying to push it up to the to the very accomplished sort of winner, Mark Selby, because he's won the Masters a few times. So it's going to be a difficult one. But I think
don't we?
We have to shade Selby.
I think just on the form that Zhao Xing Tong has showed this season, I don't think he's playing anywhere near well enough to win that match. But maybe he's been practicing hard over Christmas, so we'll soon see. But we're putting.
But I'll say one thing about Mark Selby. he's starting to show some sort of signs that he's coming back. You know, he's starting to score a little bit better. He looks a lot more confident. And but for a few close matches this season, you know, he could have easily been on the winners roster maybe a couple of times, you know.
Absolutely. This is an
match I'm looking forward to.
This is a real interesting match because John Higgins, again, some matches this season he's looked brilliant, some matches he's looked terrible. Lisowski, I mean, in the UK Championship, I was supporting him to win it. He was playing unbelievable snooker. But sort of reverted back to the normal Jack against Mark Allen. He sort of went into his shell and he, you know, to say choked is a strong word. But I think.
But you're going to say it anyway.
I'm going to say it anyway. I think he did choke a bit against Mark Allen in the semi-final of the UK Championship. But on talent alone, I always said there's no one surpasses him. So this is going to be an interesting match. This is a hard to pick a winner, I think.
I think so, and particularly on the current form. You know, John Higgins, he hasn't shown anywhere near his best form yet, has he, this season? You know, so, and Jack Lisowski, you know, he will be. You know, I don't know how much that will affect him. You know, that match against Mark Allen, because matches like that can affect you for a little while, because you know, it was a really big opportunity for him. And as you said, like he couldn't get over the line. He just couldn't get over the line. And sometimes those matches hurt you. Now, I know he's got Peter Ebdon in his corner, and he will try and help him from his experience. But I'd love to see Jack Lisowski, because I think once he wins one of these big events, he could go on and win a few of them.
And I think he loves the crowd.
Yeah,
he'll love the crowd. The crowd will be coming to see him play the way he played in the UK. And I think he'll respond to that. Higgins, traditionally, he's not got a great Masters record. I know he's won it, I think, a couple of times, but he's not got a great record, especially at Alexandra Palace. So I'm going to put Jack Lisowski through on recent form. I think it's I don't know what I think it's maybe controversial, but it could be the one.
This is one where we'll disagree on this one. I think Higgins, I think just because of his experience. But I think it's going to be close. I think it could be 6-5. But I'm just going to give it to Higgins. Just on experience alone.
Put Higgins' his name just a little bit over.
Okay, so we live, but I know where you're coming from, you know.
Okay, next match, Mark Williams, Yan Bingtao. I think Mark would have won the tournament last year if that match against Neil Robertson. Neil needed a snooker. Never seen anything like it.
No, it was quite dramatic, wasn't it?
Mark was playing out of his skin. I don't think Mark's reached those heights of last season at the World Championship yet this season.
But neither is Jan, has he?
Neither is Jan. You're absolutely right.
I don't think he's playing with any confidence like he has done. I mean, he won it only a couple of years ago, but he won it in Milton Keynes where there was no crowd. So different playing at the Ali Pali, you know. And particularly against a crowd favourite like Mark Williams, I think it's going to be a really tough match.
Well, he had the crowd eating out of his hand last year. Mark Williams, where he was playing the old one-handed shots and blind shots.
So, he's loving every minute of it, you know.
So are we thinking? I'm
going to go for Mark Williams as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, the Rocket. I think Luca Brazil's game is made for Ronnie. I think Ronnie will be in his comfort zone. Luca's very open, and if they're not going in, he's going to give Ronnie plenty of chances. What do you think? I mean, Ronnie's obviously not been. He didn't play well at all. Lost to Ding 6-0 in the UK Championship. Unbelievable result, but this is his backyard, isn't it?
Yeah, this is backyard. I think this is one of the tournaments that he sort of really gets up for. You know, I don't think he's been really sort of mentally sort of prepared for particularly the Scottish Open, even though he started flying around the table playing 11 seconds a shot, like, you know. But I think for this tournament it's a different kettle of fish for Ronnie O'Sullivan, you know. He feels it's like it's his tournament, it's in his own backyard, he's going to have great support. It'll be a tough day for Luca. Luca Brazil, very talented, you know, there's no doubt about that. You know, just like Jack Lisowski, you know, he's a real talent, you know, but he just has to tighten up a little bit, you know. But it's going to be a tough match for him.
I don't think there's any doubt with that.
Okay,
now it might get more tricky. Let's go back to your side. First quarterfinal, Neil Robertson, Kyron Wilson.
Very tough one.
Do you think the fact that, I mean, obviously the fact when you've won a match, you're into the tournament. Do you think? I tend to think if Neil wins the first match, I think he gets stronger. And I think he beats Kyron Wilson, but I'm not saying it's a done deal.
It's not a foregone conclusion, no. But I totally agree with you. I just think Neil Robertson, you know, he's been playing so well over last season. He won those 3 big tournaments, and particularly, you know, of course, he won the Masters as well. So as defending champion, I just think he's got that bit more experience, bit more confidence at this sort of stage, you know, in these big events. So, but once again, I think it's going to be really close. But for me, I think just Neil Robertson might just shade it.
What a quarterfinal lineup, by the way.
Yeah.
If that comes through.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is the thing about the Masters, you know, and it's going to be absolutely packed out. You know, 2,000 at probably even a little bit more. I don't know whether they've increased the capacity this year, but it was in 2,000 for almost every session.
That's right.
You know, which incredible crowd to play in front of. You know, but I think Neil Robertson here just shades it. I think it'll be close.
This could be one of the matches of the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Mark Allen, the form player, Judd Trump. This is tough. This is tough to pick a winner.
I think on form, you'd have to pick Mark Allen, wouldn't you?
Yep, on form. But you know, as I say, to win the UK and then try and win the Masters after, that'd be a huge effort.
Yeah, I mean the way when we got back to the championships, the way Judd Trump played against Mark Allen, do you remember? I mean, he just absolutely destroyed him. You know, it was one visit every time. It was like Judd Trump of, you know, when he won all those tournaments in 1 year, that was the way he was dominating. So it's probably a match that Judd Trump would like more than Mark Allen, but on current form, you'd probably have to just shade at Mark Allen, would you?
Yep.
I don't know. This is a toss-up, to be honest. You know,
it is. We can't decide.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an actual coin toss, isn't it?
So
have you got a coin?
I have a coin. Yeah.
Coin. You've always got coins in your pocket. So heads Mark Allen, tails Judd Trump.
Okay. Heads Mark Allen, tails Judd Trump. It's a head.
Mark Allen goes through.
So Mark Allen goes through. Sorry, Judd.
Sorry, Judd. It was literally as close as a coin toss.
Yeah. So Mark Allen goes through.
That's a big call.
Yeah.
Okay, this side, Selby, Lisowski. I mean, Lisowski's got a good record against Selby.
Yeah.
But you just, you know, in such a huge tournament, to me it depends on what Mark Selby turns up. Because if Mark Selby at his best, scoring, safety, he's almost unplayable. He's one of the only players that's almost unplayable when he's at his best. But is he going to be at his best?
He wasn't. Remember this time last year he played Barry Hawkins. In the second round, he was terrible. I mean, he was making mistakes all over the place.
See, that's the thing with him. He's not
he's very
consistent.
hot and cold.
He plays a great match and a poor match, a great match and a poor match. So my heart says Lisowski, my head says Selby. So I don't really.
Yeah, I think you know, if they were both playing at their best, you'd fancy Mark Selby because of the way he can break down. But Lisowski has been playing so well of late. Can he continue? Can he play it and beat one of the best players I think that's ever played the game, Mark Selby, at the Masters? That would be a real sort of test for him.
Yeah,
I'll let you call it. I'll let you call it because I'm going to call the next one because I think.
Oh, really? Okay. This is such a hard one to pick. It really is. I'm going to go Selby.
Okay.
I'm going to go Selby. Okay, Williams O'Sullivan. I mean, what a match this could be. I think the last time I seen him play was a Tour Championship. Went all the way
10-9, wasn't it?
Yeah. Williams was
Williams
incredible.
played out of his skin. I mean, he did everything but actually get the result. I mean, he was so unlucky, Williams. He lost a few deciders.
I mean, his record against O'Sullivan's horrendous.
Terrible. It's terrible.
But there's lots of close matches in there, but it's horrendous.
I think Ronnie is one of these players. He likes playing Williams, but you know, between those three, the class of '92, Higgins, Williams, and O'Sullivan, Ronnie loves playing Mark Williams. Mark Williams loves playing John Higgins, and John Higgins loves playing Ronnie O'Sullivan. You know what I mean? It's really, really strange. You know, so I mean, I'm going to fancy Ronnie, but once again, really close match.
I think it could be a classic. I think we'll have to go.
Mark won't like us after this.
Well, lots of people won't. I think.
Sorry, Mark. We won't be getting invited for a game of golf down to the Celtic Manor after this.
First semi-final: Neil Robertson against Mark Allen.
I'm going to go just because of current form. I'm going to go with Mark Allen. I know Neil Robertson, defending champion, but just because of current form, the way he's been playing this season, I think Mark Allen, it could be, you know, a UK champion, could be winning the Masters this year and then going to the World Championship. I mean, because of, you know, what I think has helped him a lot this year is the fact that he's lost an awful lot of weight as well. He finds that he can get to shots. He's playing shots that he couldn't play. He would have had to use the rest. Obviously feels a lot better about himself, and it certainly, he looks like a different player this year. I mean, he's a bit more measured, isn't he? You know, he's a bit more. It takes a bit more time, even around the table, and I think it's a different Mark Allen this year completely. You know, so I'm going to edge Mark Allen. I don't know how you feel.
tend to disagree. I think Robertson, when he gets to this stage of a major event, his strike rate is incredible.
Yeah.
In terms of getting to semis and final. I mean, it's getting obviously the start. I mean, look at the semi-final: Allen, Robertson, Selby, O'Sullivan. How do you? I mean, it's so difficult.
Yeah, it's like as I said, these matches would grace any final, wouldn't they? You know
absolutely.
what I mean? They're great matches to look forward to. Over the best of 11, short sprints as well. But yeah, it's a close one.
I'm overruling you.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Robertson in the final.
Okay.
It's a tough call.
Well, I'm going to put Mark Allen there just to say I said he's going to win it, but it'll be very close. You know
what a titanic match this would be.
Yeah.
Selby O'Sullivan. I mean, when Selby beat O'Sullivan in the World Championship, if Ronnie didn't get in early in the frame, Selby won them.
Yeah, of course.
Because Selby just does that. He just puts a stranglehold on the frames.
And
Ronnie can play that way, but
and he was 10-4 down, wasn't he? Yeah, 10-4 down to him in that final. But then the way, I mean, of all the players that Ronnie hates playing, it's Mark Selby. You know, I know he called him the torturer, didn't he? Because at one stage he labelled him the torturer. They have an immense sort of rivalry, more than any other. I mean, of any other player here, you would probably say maybe Higgins or Sullivan because of the amount of times they played each other in finals. But I think of all the players in this draw, the one player Ronnie doesn't like playing is this guy here. Yeah,
absolutely. I think he enjoys playing these other players, as you say. He enjoys because the game flows, where Selby, as I say, can put a stranglehold. So again, it depends very much on what Mark Selby turns up. But going to be people are going to watch this and say, "Oh, Ronnie's a favourite. Why it's easy to pick the favourite?" But his record in the Masters, he just loves playing the players, and I just think, having won that 7th world title, I think he wants triple crowns. In my view, I think he wants to win triple crowns. So I'm going to put Ronnie in the final against Neil Robertson.
Yeah, okay.
Get rid of your Mark Allen. That's not happening. Okay, so this is the big one.
Okay.
I mean, what a final that would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be incredible.
It would be, yeah. And over the best of 19, it would be incredible.
I want to say, so Neil beat him, the last final they played was a tour, but Ronnie did play incredible. Both players got huge respect for each other. Both players play the right way. It would probably be a very attacking. There'd be lots of century breaks.
What was the final that they played in last season where Ronnie came back and he, even though Neil Robertson had been playing incredible,
the Grand Prix?
Was it the Grand Prix? He beat him.
Or the Players' Championship.
He won the last 3 frames in a row, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
That was interesting, that final, because it was one of the first finals that Neil actually went into as a bookie's favourite.
Yeah.
And I want to say it maybe affected him a wee bit. He didn't play as well as he had been playing. I mean, it'd be a huge occasion, and obviously, as you know, the start to these finals, who gets the best start can be so important.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Ronnie is such a great front runner. If you let Ronnie get ahead of you, like he just steamrolls you. But it's very important for whoever's playing him to stamp their authority on early in the matches, just to put it up to him. You know.
Best of 19. What do you think? 10-7, 10-8. It's going to be whoever wins it.
I mean, between these two, it could go either way. They played it. I mean, obviously Ronnie would be a big, for the favourite. He's won 7 of them. But Neil Robertson loves playing Ronnie. He wouldn't be afraid of him at all. Yeah. But you see this guy here.
Is that the elephant in the room?
That's the elephant in the room. This guy here. This is and he loves playing Ronnie as well. This guy here. Okay. And I think of these two players, I think Mark could have I think he would. But this is your show.
Do you know what? I'm gonna shade Robertson.
Okay.
In this final.
Okay.
I think he loves playing Ronnie in finals.
Yeah.
Every year he wins at least one tournament. He's not won anything this season yet, Neil Robertson. Could this be the one?
Well, I'm going to go for, if you're going to go for Robertson, I'm definitely going to oppose you. I'm going to go for Ronnie, 7 times champion. If he plays Neil Robertson in final, it'll be very close, I think. 10-8, 10-9 to Ronnie. But you'll go for the Aussie and I'll go for the Londoner.
Well, guys, that's our opinion. If you agree or disagree, please like and subscribe and add your comments. Who do you think is going to win the Masters? This is our opinion. Might be wrong, might be a mile out. Who knows? But what a final that would be. Cheers, guys.